Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, we'll be checking out the brand new SSR Plus character, Awakened Rack. But before I get started on the video, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here on the channel, I have a Discord server. If you guys are interested in joining, I'll post a server link in the comment section down below that you guys can join up. But anyways, let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and hop right into the video. All right, so I ended up bringing my Awakened Rack to 1 blue star. After I did my summon video yesterday, I did some more pulls and I was really lucky. I ended up getting like 3 copies of him, which was really insane. So I got him to 1 blue star, which is really dope overall. Now let's go ahead and talk about his kit. So if we come over to his skill, let's go ahead and read his passive. It says Stone Shield. Rack is protected in a layer of stone, turning incoming damage that is 20% or less than his max HP to 0. Cooldown 3 seconds. In addition, when Rack's HP becomes 40% or lower, he creates a stone shield with 5 durability, limit once. Rack turns incoming damage that is 30% or less than his max HP to 0, and attacks that deal more damage than this threshold is absorbed by the stone shield, decreasing its durability by 1. Rack recovers 12% of his max HP whenever the shield's durability decreases. The stone shield disappears 20 seconds after it is created or when its durability reaches 0. So basically, when we look at stone shield, what it is that he's going to add a layer of stone, like he's going to add a protection barrier to himself. And if he receives damage that is 40%, like if his HP becomes 40% or lower, he's going to create a stone shield with durability stacks. And with these durability stacks, he'll be able to basically receive less damage. Like he'll be able to receive 0 damage with these durability stacks. But the thing is, the limit is only 1 time. So once the durability reaches 0, he won't be able to turn damage into 0 damage. So let's say someone is trying to deal 200k damage against Awakened Rack. Well, if he has the durability stacks, he'll be able to turn that 100,000 damage into 0 damage, and that's basically going to reduce his durability stack to 4. So if the damage is greater than the threshold, it's going to decrease the durability stacks. So overall, this passive is absolutely insane, considering how he can basically nullify damage taken. Like he can nullify the amount of damage he receives from the enemy, which is just crazy overall. And on top of that, he can also heal himself. So his passive really insane, and I really like how the durability stacks works. Now we come over here to the active skill. It says Rising Rock. Rack makes stone spikes shoot out from the ground to deal 550% of his attack as damage to nearby enemies, sending them airborne for 2 seconds, then provoking them for 10 seconds. In addition, the energy Rack recovers when attack increases to 10 for 12 seconds. So this active skill is really nice because he's able to proc provocation, which is going to basically make the enemy want to attack him. And on top of that, he's going to get some additional energy when enemies attack him. And when we continue, it says Stone Prison. Rack summons a stone prison with 50% of his stats, imprisoning the enemy with the highest attack for 6 seconds. This cannot be removed with status removal effects, with status removal skills. The stone prison explodes if it isn't destroyed within 6 seconds, dealing 550% of the stone prison's attack as damage to the imprisoned target and nearby enemies. This skill only activates when there are 2 or more enemies. So what stone prison does is he's going to imprison the enemy who has the highest attack on the enemy team, and this cannot be removed. So this is a really nice active skill to basically increase your team survivability. So let's say you're trying to go up against a Vile, or let's say you're going up against a Joaquin. Awakened Rack is going to use this stone prison skill to seal them so that they won't do insane damage because they're going to be in prison. But I will say one downside to this is this active skill doesn't really work well with Vicente, because we already know that Vicente, his passive, he's able to one-shot enemies with the highest attack. So sometimes Awakened Rack is going to imprison the highest attacked enemy before Vicente can use his one-shot attack, and he will do no damage at all. So I will say when it comes to using Vicente with Awakened Rack, this skill can get in the way. So just to warn you guys. Now, if we look at the special move, Stone Fist, Rack creates a giant stone fist to deal 375% of its attack as damage to the enemy with the highest attack and nearby enemies 3 times, sending them airborne for 2 seconds. In addition, Rack's damage taken decreases by 30% and he becomes immune to status effects for 8 seconds. So he's going to receive less damage when he activates Stone Fist, and then on top of that, he's going to target the enemy with the highest attack and nearby enemies 3 times. So that's pretty much his special move. His special move is crazy. Like, it's a huge AoE attack, and he just becomes a tank monster once he activates his special move Stone Fist. So that's pretty much his entire kit overall. I will say the most important part about his kit is Stone Shield, because as you guys can see, you can basically increase the amount of durability stacks he can have with the Stone Shield. So the durability stacks are really important because that's going to allow him to be extremely tanky because he's going to receive no damage. So he's definitely going to be a unit that's going to be good with a lot of copies, but he can still work with low investment. So let's go ahead and take a look at his best in slot ignition weapon. So if we come over here, of course the best in slot is going to be the Neon set, the defense set. And the reason why this set is going to be best in slot for him is because he can proc provocation. So he's going to receive that additional physical and magic resistance and additional HP as well, which is really nice. So this is definitely going to be the best set for him. And a secondary set that would be good for him as well is Bergamot, because Bergamot has lifesteal. So Bergamot will also be a good set to use on him. But I highly recommend you guys to go for the defense set instead, because he can provoke, which is really nice. So provocation, this set definitely best in slot for him. When it comes to stats, I come over here, you want to put on magic resistance and you also want to put on physical resistance because he is a tank unit. So you want to focus on physical and magic resistance so that he can actually survive. And then besides that, when it comes to substats, you want to focus on evasion, physical resistance, magic resistance, and also effect resistance. So those are like the top stats you definitely want to focus on when it comes to Awakened Rack. You want to focus on some HP. Of course, you know, it's going to be a main stat. You want to get some HP. Attack is pretty decent because it's going to allow him to do some good damage. Crit rate, crit damage doesn't really matter. You mostly want to get some evasion, some accuracy. Accuracy is actually pretty nice. A lot of swiftness. Swiftness is always good. Of course, magic resistance, physical resistance. You don't really have to worry about physical pierce or magic pierce. Doesn't really matter. And of course, some effect resistance and also some lifesteal. So those are like the top stats you want to focus on when it comes to Awakened Rack. Now, if we come over here to his exclusive equipment, now let's take a look at this. Now, level 1, Rack's defense increases by 80% for 12 seconds when using Rising Rock. So he's going to get an 80% defense increase when he uses his active skill, which is absolutely insane. Now, I'm pretty sure Rising Rock, that is his active skill, right? Yes, that is his active skill. So when he uses this active skill, he's going to get an 80% defense boost, which is really crazy. Now we look at the level 2, the durability of Stone Shield increases by 2. So for me, since I, you know, not maxed him out, but I was able to get 3 green stars and on top of that 1 blue star. So I now have 7 durability stacks maxed. So depending on how many copies you have on him, I will say the most important thing is of course the passive, because with the passive you can basically increase that durability stack, which is going to allow him to take no damage at all for like a long time. So for his exclusive equipment, level 2 is extremely important because you'll be able to increase the durability stacks, which is really nice. And then we look at the level 3, it says the cooldown of Stone Prison resets when an ally dies. The cooldown reset does not activate again for 5 seconds. So as soon as an ally on your team dies, the Stone Prison skill will reset and he will do it yet again. But if someone else dies again, you have to wait for like 5 seconds for it to reset again. That's pretty much his level 3 is pretty nice. And then for level 4, Stone Fist is enhanced, decreasing damage taken by an additional 20%. So level 4, really good because he's getting that additional 20% damage taken, so decreased damage taken. So overall, his exclusive equipment, it is really nice. I will say the best levels are level 2 and I'll say level 4. Level 2 and level 4 are really good because he is basically increasing durability stacks, and on top of that he is receiving less damage when he does his ultimate. So that is really his entire kit summarized. And then when we look at his report, you guys already know you always want to aim for that level 6 so that you can get that additional accuracy and evasion, and also all of the swiftness as well. It's obvious. Now let's go ahead and take a look at his skill. We're gonna go come over to the preview, and we're just gonna take a look at everything. So we're just gonna wait for this to load up. Rachel, can't stand that character, but let's just wait for this to load up. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. As you guys can see, stone shield, he does the stone prison. That is the stone prison active skill. So literally the enemy is in prison for like a couple seconds, and you guys can see that he's receiving additional energy. And we're gonna go ahead and activate his special move right here, and then he is going to receive less damage. So this is literally how his whole kit works. Now I don't understand why the durability stacks aren't visible right here. They should be visible, but it seems like he doesn't have the durability stacks yet. Probably because, oh yeah, I get it now. The reason why his durability stacks don't appear yet is because his HP isn't around 40%. So his durability stacks will start to activate once his HP reaches like 40% or below. Once it reaches 40%, that's when you're going to see like a number next to his HP and the energy bar, and you're going to see like a number and a shield icon. That is basically his durability stacks. He's going to receive no damage, which is really good overall. So we're going to go ahead and use his special move one more time. It again, as you guys can see, receives less damage. Really awesome unit overall. Now let's go ahead and exit right here real quick, and we're pretty much going to showcase him in adventure mode, and we're also going to try him in arena simulation. All right, so a team that I'm thinking about with Awakened Rack is a team that includes Vicente, Support Hua, Red Mask Hua, and Escanor. So you guys remember what I said. Vicente, he doesn't really work that well with Awakened Rack because Awakened Rack, he has that imprisonment, which can basically get in the way of Vicente's one-shot attack. So I'm going to test and see and pretty much show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the reason why I have, Escanor in this team as well is because Escanor, he's a great tank unit, and he's also going to proc provocation. The fact that you have 2 units who are doing provoke, your whole team survivability is going to be decent overall. We're going to go ahead and enter battle right here. And this is not a guaranteed win. This is just to show you guys his performance with, basically red element overall. Now, we're also going to test him with other red element units like Vio, Evankel, but we're going to start off with Vicente and the 2 Hua characters. So let's see what happens here. All right, so as you guys can see, imprisoned. So the imprisonment can get in the way sometimes, and you want to be careful when Rack does the imprisonment. Now, the other thing about this team is this team also lacks damage, because I feel like Vicente as, the only DPS unit in this team is just not enough. So using a unit like Vio would be a lot better, because Vio is extremely broken when you get a lot of copies on him. I'm pretty sure once you reach 3 red stars, Vio is absolutely insane. But as you guys can see, Awakened Rack survivability is really nice, and you guys can see the durability stacks right there. So when we look at the stats right here, Vicente being like the main DPS unit in this team doesn't really work that well, because he just doesn't do that much damage. Like when it comes to one-shotting enemies, sure, but that's like the beginning of the battle. And Awakened Rack, his imprisonment gets in the way, and Vicente can't one-shot because Awakened Rack already imprisoned the unit with the highest attack. So I feel like Vicente and Awakened Rack, to be honest, they just don't really work they don't really work well together. And in this team comp, Vicente is basically the only main DPS unit. Of course, we have Red Mask Hua, who is also like a sub DPS unit, but when it comes to dealing damage, the damage is just not high enough. So we're definitely going to need to use a unit like Vile, who can deal some insane damage. So if I come over here to arena simulation, we come over to arena simulation, and I'm going to go ahead and form a team that includes Vile. All right, so this was a team that I was able to form. As you guys can see, we have Red Mask Squad. He is going to focus on basically crowd controlling the enemy team by continuously silencing them and doing some pretty good damage and stunning them as well. And Blanc, the reason why I have Blanc in his team is because she is going to pretty much heal. She's going to be the team's main healer. And then Escanor is going to be, of course, your tank unit. And Awaken Rack, your tank unit as well. And then Vile, he is going to be your main DPS unit. So we're going to go ahead, click quick result, and let's see what happens. Now, Kaseya might one-shot our allies. Okay, she literally one-shotted Vile. So against purple team comp, not bad, but it seems like, of course, Kaseya was able to one-shot one of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Escanor and an Awaken Rack into the back so that Kaseya won't one-shot, and then let's see what happens here. Okay, Vile still one shot. So Kaseya definitely a problem when it comes to Vile. So I will say against purple team comp, you want to watch out for units who can one shot Vile. So I feel like the best thing to do is I feel like against purple team, let's be honest, purple team is like the best team comp in the game. So I pretty much just showed you guys a counter. Like Kaseya literally counters Vile. Like any unit that can one shot Vile is in deep trouble whenever he's encountering a unit that can one shot him. So we're going to go ahead and swap out another team. We're going to put blue element team comp instead. So if we come over here, we swap out Karaka, we take out all of these purple element units, we put in Escanor, we put in Fly Uric Mazino, and then we also put in Meliodas, Elizabeth, and then Blanc. And then of course we're going to level them up, rainbow out Elizabeth because it's easy to rainbow SSR plus, not SSR plus, but SSR units. And then we bring Escanor to like 3 red stars, and the same for Uric Mazino as well. Now, let's see what actually happens here. So I'm going to go ahead and swap their position. All right, quick result. Let's see what happens. All right, so as you guys can see, Vile dealing good damage, but look at Awaken Rack's damage taken. 447 billion damage taken is crazy. So when it comes to Awaken Rack, he is able to take a lot of damage. So I will say when it comes to him dealing damage, of course he's a tank unit, so his job isn't to really, you know, deal damage, but when it comes to taking damage, he is really good at it. So this is just to pretty much give you guys a good idea as of to how you want to use Awaken Rack. I feel like Awaken Rack, he could pretty much work in a lot of teams. He can work in every single team because his kit isn't restricted to just one team. But he is definitely a good unit with Vile. So if I head on over back to adventure mode, as you guys can see, I can literally put Awaken Rack in any team and he just works. He's a unit that pretty much works in every team comp because all he does is he just provokes the enemy and he just takes damage. So we're going to use him in the blue element team comp. The unit that we took out of blue element team comp was Blanc, and we pretty much have, like, to be honest, we pretty much have like 3 tank units. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. So I'm going to go ahead and enter battle and let's see what happens. Now remember, my Awaken Rack doesn't even have his revolution unlocked, so he will receive a lot of damage, but he'll be able to, you know, provoke the enemy and also seal the enemy who has the highest attack. So as you guys can see, good survivability, doing really well so far. He didn't even proc the durability stacks yet. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, I will say when it comes to blue element team comp, Awaken Rack is a perfect fit for this team for sure. But of course, Blanc, she is a better fit because she is a blue element character and she is going to increase Elizabeth's attack. But as you guys can see, Awaken Rack, he is a good option for this team. So look at that. We're going to go and check the stats real quick. So wait for it to go by. Check the battle stats. As you guys can see, Awaken Rack, what his job is, like what his job in this team is that he's supposed to focus on concealing the enemy with the highest attack, right, by imprisoning them, which allows your team to survive a lot longer. And his job is to provoke. So don't really focus on damage, because remember guys, he is a tank unit. So his job is to pretty much stall the enemy, receive a lot of damage, and on top of that, conceal the enemy with the highest attack. So he works really well in blue element team comp. Now let's go ahead and try him in purple team comp. So I'm going to proceed right here, and let's go ahead and put purple team comp instead. So we're going to use this team, but the difference is we're going to take out Escanor and we're going to put in Awakened Rack instead. So let's see what happens here. We're going to enter battle, and we have Gusting, who is a healer. So I'm actually interested to see what happens here. Like if he's good in purple element team comp, that just pretty much proves that Awakened Rack is just a universal tank unit, just like Escanor. So here's the durability stacks. He's receiving no damage here. As you guys can see, the number right here is going to go down, and on top of that, when it goes down, he's going to receive HP. That is absolutely broken, really cracked. And then we're going to see his ultimate right there. Oh my gosh, yeah, this unit is insane. This unit is insane. One blue star, and he's doing this much. Let's go and check out the battle stats real quick. He took 63 million damage. That's how damage he was able to take. He was able to take 63 million damage, which is insane. So this unit really strong. He is just one blue star. Now I'm going to come back over here. We're going to proceed, and then I'm going to use Awakened Rack with 3 red stars. So you guys already know the trial event, we can literally use Awakened Rack with like 3 copies, depending on 3 red copies, depending on, you know, which character you synchronize with him. I synchronized him with my Escanor, so he has 3 red stars, and he also has the tier 3 revolution. So let's see what actually happens here. We're going to enter battle, and I'm pretty sure his performance is going to be insane, considering how we basically maxed out all of his skills and ultimate in his kit. So let's see what happens. So going to be our main tank unit. He's already 9 durability stacks. So that's how many stacks you're going to get when you basically max out his passive. You're going to get 9 durability stacks maximum, which is insane. All right, looking good so far. Okay, instant clear. Yeah, this unit is good. This is a really good unit. Yes, he is a universal tank unit. Honestly, I thought that he was going to be a tank unit solely for red element, but he is good for red element, and he's pretty much good for every single element in the game. He can also work with, you know, yellow team comp. He can pretty much work everywhere. He can work for green element team, red element, blue element. He can work in any single team comp. So overall, this character, really solid unit. Insane. He is absolutely insane. I would say that he is, would I say that he's on the same level as Escanor? When it comes to how many copies you need on Escanor versus how many copies you need on Awakened Rack, I will say that Escanor requires a lot more investment than Awakened Rack, but with Awakened Rack, you are perfectly fine with at least 3 green stars or even 1 blue star. But I will say I definitely recommend you guys to get more copies on him, because you want to max out his passive so that you can max out the durability stacks. So this unit, absolutely insane. Really awesome tank unit. He is a universal tank unit that can pretty much work in every single team comp, because he is not restricted to one element. He can imprison the enemy with the highest attack. He can basically receive less damage. He can literally receive 0 damage depending on how many durability stacks he has, and he's able to heal himself, and he can provoke, and on top of that, he can receive less damage because of his ultimate. So yeah, this unit is broken. This tank unit is broken. Absolutely insane. It's been a while since, you know, they released an SSR Plus unit that requires less copies, because we look at units such as Escanor, we look at units like Vial. All of these units required so many copies, but when I look at Awakened Rack, he doesn't. He doesn't require a lot of copies because his job is to basically stall the team, distract them by provoking them, and concealing the enemy with the highest attack. So awesome unit overall. And yeah, I feel like he works perfectly well with Vio, because Vio is like literally like the best red element DPS unit, and these two together are absolutely insane. So yeah, Awaken Rack, good unit, really strong unit, and I highly recommend you guys to definitely invest in him. He is a strong unit. I will say aim for 3 red stars, because that's what I'm doing right now. Aim for 3 red stars, and you should definitely test him out with his trial event as well. So this unit, really good overall. But anyways, that's pretty much my showcase on Awaken Rack. I feel like this unit is really strong, and he is indeed meta. I will say this is what red element was missing. They were missing a solid tank unit that can pretty much survive throughout the entirety of the battle and provoke the enemy and conceal the enemy with the highest attack. Really strong unit. But anyways, I'll be ending the video at that. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.